Hi Cubies, here's Alexandra again, and welcome to part number 3 of how to play Lord of the Rings. In the last episodes I told you how to move, shoot and basically fight in this game. And today we are talking about heroes. Well, here are two examples for heroes. We have still our Haldir from the Elves, and here is Lords from the Uruk-hai. Those are both two, I would say, mid-range heroes. They are named heroes, but not as powerful as the super mighty heroes like Aragorn, for example, or maybe a Balrog. But on the other side, they have still something in common with all the heroes. And this here. This is here, for example, the stat lines of Lords. Here you can see the normal stat lines of him, his combat capability with his ballistic skills, strength, toughness, attacks, life points, and his moral. And heroes also have 3 additional characteristics. Well, this is here obviously the German rulebook, but that doesn't have to bother us. The 3 additional characteristics are might, will, and fate. And we will talk about that now. All the points that are listed in the heroes section, for example, here we have another one, Eomer. He has 3 might, 2 will, and 2 fate, and those points are 1 use only. So while during the game you can always use 3 of his might, 2 of his willpower, and 2 of his fate. When they are gone, and you can't use them anymore. Let us start with the first and quite simple of the 3 points you can choose from. For example, here we have Haldir. We start with fate. So that means he has 1 fate point. And what fate is? It is basically a one-time only ward save against anything. So in this example, this Uruk-hai warrior has inflicted a wound on Haldir, and in order to save this wound, he simply can use 1 of his fate points and roll a d6. On a 4+, he will protect himself from this wound. If he fails, he can say, okay, I want to use another fate point if he has some left. Well, Haldir, for example, has only 1 fate, and that means he has a one-time only chance to save himself. If it's gone, it's gone. The next characteristic we are looking at is will. Will is the thing that is used for 2 things. First, to cast magical spells, and second, to withstand them. So, for example, we have here Saruman, and he has 6 willpower and a star behind him. That means his staff. His staff allows him to use 1 willpower each turn without lowering his stats of willpower. So, for example, if he wants to cast a spell on him, if he wants to use 1 point, he can throw that. For example, he chooses this here, Stoß, and it needs a 5+ to be casted. He can say, okay, I will throw 1 dice at it, and it fails. But let's assume he would have managed to get out the spell. In this case, Haldir has his willpower, and as we can see here, he has 1 willpower, and that means he can roll, if he wants, 1 dice to challenge this magic spell. In order to do this, he has to beat up the dice throw of Saruman. So in this case, he gets a 6, and he neutralizes this spell cast. In order to nullify a spell successfully, you have to throw all your willpower you want to use at once. For example, if this wasn't Haldir, instead it was Eomer, for example. He has 2 willpower. he can't use one and oh, this is a fail, I will now use my second one and this is also a fail. No, you have to throw both at the same time and say, okay, 4 is my highest thing I have thrown. Same for spellcasting. You can't say, okay, I want to use this one, no, this is a fail, I will use the next one and then the next one. No, you have to say, okay, Saruman tries to make a spell on him, and from my 6 willpower I will use 3 now in order to cast. And he throws, and his highest number is a 5 in this case, and then Eomer / Haldir could try to withstand that, and he throws 2 dice at it. So, and this one would be the highest is a 6, and so he would have nullified it. Now we come to the most useful but also most complicated stat line. This is the might. Let's look again here. Eomer, for example, has 3 might, and let's say again our Haldir has also 3 might. What he basically can do with this is modify your throws. So, for example, he wants to shoot at Saruman, and he has an elven bow. So, let's look up what he needs to throw to hit him at his ballistic skill. And as we can see, he needs a 3+. There. So, for example, he shoots at Saruman, and he throws a 2. This time, he can use one of his might points to boost this here up and say to 1 point up or down, however you want, and he says, okay, I boost this up by 1 with one of my might points, and in order to hit him. Also, the same appears to damaging him. So, his elven bow has a strength of 3 against the toughness of Saruman. Let's say, where is he? I should have used bookmarks. He has a defense of 5, so he would need to damage him. Strength 3 against toughness 5. He would need a 5 to damage him. So, he rolls. Oh, he manages to damage him. But if he would have rolled a 4, he could have used another might point to boost it up at a 5. So, basically, you can modify all your rolls with your might points. But remember, might points that are used are gone forever. So, Haldir can this do only 3 times during the whole game. So, be careful for what you use your might points. Another thing that you can do with your might points is modify all the other throws. For example, you can use this for your fate rolls and for your willpower rolls. For example, Saruman wanted to cast a spell and he fails at rolling his d6. He can use his might points to boost this up to the point level he wants it to have. Also with his fate rolls. If you roll to see, for example here, Haldir wanted to nullify damage and he rolled a 3 and he has also still a might point left. He can modify it to a 4 and would survive. The last thing what you can do with your might points is do heroic actions. That means you can nullify the order in which the turn is held off. For example, let's say we have here an Urukai and we have here Lords and here is Haldir, and let's say here's also the Warrior of Rohan. Let's say the Urukai would have the initiative this turn, but in this case, Haldir could use one of his might points to say, okay, I want to make an heroic movement. That means he is moving before the Urukai are moving, and also before his little warrior here of Rohan is moving. So in this case, Haldir is moving, and he is going to close combat to prevent that he is going to close combat with this little guy here. Then the Urukai would have had his moving phase, so he would move lords in the close combat, and in this case here, then the warrior of Rohan would have the last time the movement. And so the close combat would be held off between those two and those two, instead of maybe those two and those two. So there are also other heroic actions you can take. Instead of heroic movement, there's also a heroic shooting and heroic close combat. That's also almost the same. You simply resolve the heroic action before all other phases. And also, one thing to remember is when you declare a heroic action and it is not your initiative, then your opponent has also the chance to say he wants to make an heroic intervention with his character model also. For example, let's say those 4 warriors are on the table, and it is the initiative of the Urukai, and it is now shooting phase. And in this shooting phase, Haldir wants to use one of his might points to shoot first at this Urukai here, and he says, "Okay, I will use now my might point to do this." In this regard, the Urukai player can instead also say, "Okay, lords will do the same and use his might point to make also an heroic shooting attack, and I will shoot Haldir first." So in this case, the fate point, the might point that Haldir has used is nullified because lords has his initiative and he is also using his might before shooting at him. Well, if Haldir would survive the shooting from lords, he will still shoot before the Urukai, if he had a shooting attack, could shoot at them. So in this case, lords first shoot, then Haldir, and then the Urukai with a shooting weapon if he had one. Next thing on the list is the heroic close combat. So in heroic close combat, the heroic close combat is held also before all the other close combats. So for example, we have here multiple close combat with those 2 here, and then we have those 2 here, and lords is also fighting down here. If Haldir would say, "Okay, I am making now a heroic close combat," his close combat would be held first. If the Urukai player would have had the initiative, and he would normally say, "Okay, I will fight this close combat here first, and this one here second." Then Haldir could, the Haldir player could say, "Okay, I'm making now a heroic close combat. This here is resolved first," and he might slay those 2 Urukai. And in that case, if he managed to win his combat, he gets to move a second time in this turn. That means he would slay those 2 Urukai, move again into this close combat, and then the close combat between lords and Haldir would be fought, and only the warrior of Rohan would fight against a single Urukai, instead of fighting with lords and the Urukai. So, I hope you liked this little in-view about heroes. There are also several different roles that heroes play in the Lord of the Rings. Some of them have special rules, and those are all clarified in the rulebook. I won't go over every single one. of them, but those are the basic rules of heroes with their might, willpower, and fate, what they can do with it. Also, fate rolls you make can also be modified with your might. With your might power, if you have still some left. So, I hope you liked this little video, and we see us in the next one of how to play Lord of the Rings.